My name's Adam Monaco and I'm the Financial Controller for Hi-Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at Hi-Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. Hi-Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
Welcome everyone to Sydney Motorsport Park for our continued coverage of the opening round of the 2017 Swann Super Series. And today we feature all the supports action. My name is Lance Robertson and joining me once again for all the on-track warfare is Tim Graham. Well Tim, it looks like beautiful conditions here again.
Yeah, you couldn't get any better conditions for racing, Lance. A perfect day out here at Sydney Motorsport Park.
We're just about to get ready with our first category, which is the newly created 400 Supersports, and the BikeBiz team are the defending champions, having won last year's Kawasaki Ninja Cup. They're also strong advocates of top quality rider apparel, and Becky Lamb caught up with the team from BikeBiz about the latest and greatest from Shark helmets.
Every rider knows the importance of having a safe helmet when they go out for a ride. So we had a chat to the guys at bikebiz.com.au to get some insider information and to get the latest looks. Jimmy, this is a pretty cool looking helmet, but why do you love wearing it?
Yeah, it's really cool. And I'm a big fan of Jorge Lorenzo as well. The tinted visor, the stickers on it, yeah, it's just a really cool helmet. Plus, when I'm going at high speeds or any speed really, there's no distortion. And at high speed it's stable as well, which is a bonus for me as a rider.
Matty, we know that you're across the technical stuff. Take us through it.
As far as Sam goes with the distortion, it's got a Class 1 optical visor. Really that means is that it's just real clear, there's no distortion in the helmet. This has been achieved by actually varying the thickness of the visor from 2.5mm to 4mm visor. The helmet's really lightweight. It's made of carbon fibre and Kevlar materials, so it gives it a really nice light feel to it. Ventilation is very important for a rider as well, so there's plenty of ventilation across the helmet to keep the rider nice and cool. On the back of the helmet, they've actually designed what they call a double wing spoiler. This spoiler actually really keeps the helmet stable at high speeds. So if it doesn't have the spoilers, the helmet tends to wobble around a bit, and that just really keeps it cool. Internally, it actually uses bamboo fibres, which bamboo is a natural fibre, so it's really good on the skin and helps whip moisture away. Really, it's just a nice, safe, light helmet for the rider.
And Jimmy, of course, we're being sold again. Tell me where we can get it.
You can get this helmet at bikebiz.com.au.
Well, there's no doubt that safety is first and foremost and is of paramount importance at any motorsport venue, but especially when you're riding two wheels. This is the 400 Supersport. It is a new class that's been created. There are a number of different motorcycles involved in it, and the category certainly is going to grow. The riders are making their way to the start line for the second event on the program for them, but let's have a look, Tim, at the highlights of race number one.
Yeah, and it was Hunter Ford that got a good start, but Max Crocker beat him into turn one for the first time.
Yeah, and Tom Taparis wasn't all that far behind on board machine number 7. He is certainly a rising star of the future. But as you can see, the battles were on in earnest. It wasn't too long, though, before Hunter Ford, all on his own, did a bit of a low side, and then unfortunately for Jimmy Condon, he ended up hitting the back of Yanni Shaw's bike, and he came unstuck as well.
Yeah, looks like he hurt his arm there, Lance, which brought out the red flag.
Yeah, let's have a look at a replay here. You can see on board with Hunter Ford, he just lost the back end there in the classic low side and went off to the outside of the circuit. And as we have a look here now on board with Jimmy Condon, you can see that balked Yanni Shaw, and Jimmy Condon unfortunately collected his front wheel on the back of Yanni's rear wheel. So that, as you mentioned, brought out the red flag. We have had a complete race restart, and it was a little bit of a case of deja vu, really. Max Croker again got a good start, and this time you can see on the extreme right-hand side, or the inside of turn number 1, Keogh Watson, the man on the KTM, doing a great job as well.
Yeah, Keogh only got his bike a couple of days ago, Lance, so a great effort in this first race of the day. But up the inside of Taparis there as they go into the bikehaggle.com.au drop-off for the first time.
It wasn't long before he came to grips with that bike. Standard suspension, standard everything else. Standard Dad Ken in the pits as well, watching in earnest, and he's certainly, well, I guess, a master of doing things like he just did there with the slipstreaming. But Yanni Shaw and he continued the battle throughout the entire duration of the 6-lap journey.
Yeah, good battle between these throughout this first race of the day, Lance, and it looks like at the end of it, Keogh Watson got the better of the Kawasaki Ninja rider.
And it was all about Max Croker, though. He took it in a canter. And with Keogh Watson in second and Yanni Shaw in third, that's your front row of the grid for race 2.
Yeah, in row 2 is Tom Taparis, Ryan Selland and Danny Thomas.
On the third row, we have Ryan Young, Robert Penman and Shani Pinfold.
Trent Thompson, Alex Smith and Scott Chapman at row 4.
And row 5, Michael Jeffrey, Julie Clinker and Greg Burt share that one.
And Andy Stagg, Richard Draper and James Seeley, row 6.
Well, there's the front 6 rows of the grid. Of course, there's plenty more riders and bikes preparing themselves for the second 6-lap encounter of the Shock Treatment 400 Super Sport races. A good start from Keogh Watson on the outside, but not as good as Max Croker, who seems to be a master of going faster over the first 25 metres or so.
Yeah, deja vu for race 2 there. A lot of dicing up through the midfield there through race as well for the first time there, Lance. But Hunter Ford has managed to get his bike back out for race 2, which is great work.
Yeah, good effort for him. He's managed to overtake a couple of riders there going down into bikebiz.com.au, the second turn on the circuit, as we're looking back there at the number 42 of Ryan Young on his KTM RC390.
Yeah, this class this year, Lance, has got Super Sport 400s, which allows different motorcycles in. In recent years, it's been the Ninja 300 Cup, but this year we have the RC390 KTM and the Yamaha R3, which is the 321cc machine, racing against the 298cc machine of Kawasaki.
Yeah, different cylinder configurations as well, so that makes it all a good mixture. As you can see, Hunter Ford there is mixing it up with the best of them as he heads up over the top of the hill and towards the Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Days corporate hill area.
Yeah, that's young Danny Thomas we've seen riding his naked bike in the last few years, riding the R3 Yamaha for this year.
Yeah, good mixture of youth and exuberance there. You can see Hunter Ford coming up the inside there of Keogh Watson. He's left that door wide open, and that will certainly come with some criticism when he gets back to the pits from Dad Cam.
Yeah, it's our first national race meeting for young Keogh Watson, so he's doing a great job. But it's Hunter Ford starting from back of the grid. I'm not finishing the first race, but he's making a big move. But Tom Taparis, we've seen Tom riding a 300 Ninja for the last couple of years, this time on the RC390 KTM.
Yeah, still a part of the Cube Racing leader gluten-free team, and that RC390 will certainly be developed well under his, I guess you could say, leadership.
You can see the 390 single cylinder and the 321 Yamaha and the 300 Kawasaki, all pretty equal in terms of speed.
They are, as Hunter Ford bleeds them down through Racers World, turn 1. And heading down that short straight, into turn 2, the bikebiz.com.au hairpin. You can see that it's a great area for overtaking. Look at Keogh Watson trying to get up around the outside of Hunter Ford there, unable to do it. And they all seem to be getting held up a little bit by Tom Taparis.
Yeah, Keogh Watson went a little bit deep under brakes there, which made him go wide around bikebiz.com.au. But Hunter Ford's now right on the back wheel of Tom Taparis.
Let's have a look at a replay now on board with Hunter Ford from the restart. Of course, he was right at the rear of the grid, courtesy of the fact that he was part of the reason why they had a restart of that race. But it's good to see that he's up and okay after a little dusting early on. You could see that he threaded the needle quite well through Racers World.
Yeah, it didn't take him long to get up to the pointy end of the field, Lance, into bikebiz.com.au, but excellent riding by Hunter Ford on that yellow livered RC Yamaha.
Yeah, great effort for him. As you can see, he managed to get himself right up towards the pointy end of the field, and courtesy of some good slipstreaming over the last couple of laps, he now occupies second place on the track behind Max Croker.
Yeah, Keogh Watson has having a great battle there with Yanni Shaw as well, right on the tail there. These three all over each other, coming in out of race as well into Bike Biz, but it's Yanni Shaw up the inside. Can he maintain that line? He's done a good job there, Lance. It's the two riders right behind the two RC 390 KTMs, but Yanni Shaw's got a bit of an advantage coming over the bikehaggle.com.au hill.
Well, he has a little bit more of an advantage as well because he's had his seat. He's had a seat in the saddle here on the BC Performance Kawasaki Ninja Cup for the last couple of seasons, and has had some great tutoring from some great riders as well in the BC Performance camp.
Yes, and look at Hunter Ford. He is flying at the moment. He's catching right up to Max Croker at front. He's made a hell of a lot of ground there, lad, from the rear of the field, and he's right there nearly putting the battle to the front.
And a good effort from Yanni Shaw as well to break away from the battle behind him, which of course is between Tom Taparis and Keogh Watson. As you can see out in front though, Max Croker looks like he's getting a little bit of pressure applied by Hunter Ford. He knows he's there. He's not that far behind him, and at about half race distance he wants to certainly clean up his act. Here's a good replay of some overtaking. Yanni Shaw threading the needle, splitting them like a banana popping out of a skin between the number 7 of Tom Taparis and Keogh Watson on 43.
Yeah, Keogh Watson seems to be having a little bit of trouble with braking coming into the corners, going wide through a lot of the corners there, but making the ground through corner speed. But here's the battle for the lead now, Lance, on the final lap. Hunter Ford is caught right up to Max Crocker as they come over bikehaggle.com.au.
Down over the drop-off and in towards turns 4 and 5. The Dunlop Sportsmax S's, if you like. First to the right, then to the left. Here comes Hunter Ford up the inside and assumes responsibility of the race lead at this stage.
He's definitely got the red mist after not finishing race number 1, but here comes Max Croker going into a Sydney Motorsport Park ride days for the last time of race number 2 there, Lance, and he's got in front of Hunter Ford now as they go up the hill, ready to come around Corporate Hill into turn 9.
Yeah, into turn 9, the hairpin right-hander. Of course, you've got to be careful not to wash away the front wheel there on the adverse camber, but here comes Hunter Ford. The door's been opened up by Croker through the right-hander and leading onto the back straight. The iPhone oils back straight for the last time. The Ford brothers racing. Hunter Ford under siege now from Max Croker. Goes around the outside of him as he heads down into the Matrice dampers, turns 10 and 11.
I was going to say this race isn't over yet, and it's definitely going to be a drag race to the line. Hunter Ford, can he get the use of the slipstream behind that RC390 of Max Crocker? Max Crocker's had a bit of a slide there, Lance. It's going to give Hunter Ford a bit of an advantage. Can he use it?
Both of them tucking themselves in under the fairing, looking for the slipstreaming as Hunter Ford. He's going to take it right down to the wire, but it looks like Croker's going to take it. He does, by a narrow margin indeed, and second place going to Hunter Ford. Here comes that three-way battle for the final podium position, and it's going to go to Keogh Watson.
Great ride by Keogh Watson to get in front of Yanni Shaw and Tom Taparis, but there's your finishing order there, Lance.
In sixth place, Ryan Sellen, Dan Thomas in the top 7, Ryan Young, Robert Penman, and Andrew Edzer rounds up the top 10.
Yeah, thank you very much. Managed to make it another P1 for this race, but I didn't expect Hunter to be there, but it was a good battle all the way to the end, but it should be a good race the next one.
Well, with a front row qualification and 2 victories under his belt, Max Croker leads the field on pole position. Hunter Ford beside him and Keogh Watson rounding up the top 3.
Yeah, row 2 is led by Yanni Shaw, Tom Taparis and Ryan Sellen.
On the third row of the grid, it's young Dan Thomas, Ryan Young and Robert Penman.
Row 4 is led by Andrew Edzer, Trent Thompson and Alex Smith.
Michael Jeffrey, Scott Chapman and Greg Burt share the penultimate row.
And row 6 is Draper, Clinker and Stagg.
Unfortunately for Hunter Ford, we can see the team is pushing him back into the pits, Tim, on the sighting and warm-up lap. He threw a chain.
And he'll be starting from race 3, Lance, from pit row.
Yeah, if the team can get that chain reset on the bike in time, he will be starting from pit row. In the meantime, the lights are out. Yanni Shaw on the 333, the BC Performance Kawasaki got a good start, but it's all about Max Croker and his starts again being followed through there by Tom Taparis.
Yeah, all 3 races have been Max Croker through races. World turn 1 there, but it looks like Tom Taparis on the similar KTM, and it's Keogh Watson as well, right up in the back end of those 2 front riders.
Yeah, he's doing proud, but he tends to go a little bit wide through bikebiz.com.au, something that he may need to improve on in times to come. We're on board with Hunter Ford. As you can see, he's just exited pit lane a good half lap behind the rest of the field.
And I can see his red mist now through that visor there, Lance. He'll be on fire in this race number 3.
Over the top of bikehaggle.com.au and drop over and down into the Dunlop Sportsmax turns. Our field is threading through.
And it's Max Crocco coming into, look at those big move there by Yanni Shaw up the inside of Taparis there. He went from 4th to 2nd there in front of the 2 KTMs up the hill.
Showing how well he has matured as a rider over the last couple of seasons under the BC Performance guys on that Kawasaki Ninja, and certainly knows where to brake and to accelerate. Of course, the 3 different classes of bike that are in, or the 3 marks of bike that are primarily in amongst all of this, the Kawasaki is probably the most stable over the last couple of years with its development.
Yeah, they've had a couple of years developing those 300 machines there, and as I'm going to mention there, Lance, you can see Ryan Sellon there on the At1 racing machine there, the red-livered Kawasaki, first time on the 300, and he's had a great ride there and a great team there with At1.
Yeah, the At1 Pro race suits, Silverline, Kawasaki Ninja 300. He's back there in 4th place, but look behind him there, Keogh Watson right down underneath the visor. He's slipstreaming up the inside of Yanni Shaw. Will he get past Tom Taparis as well? No is the answer. Yanni Shaw leans on him through Races World. No quarter asked and none given. Good, clean, safe racing from all of them.
And you can see Keogh Watson losing a lot of advantage there due to his size there, Lance. The other rider's a little bit smaller than Keogh. Keogh's a rather tall lad, but he still goes a little bit wide there, but maintains that position on the track. He's going around the outside of Taparis for a big look coming up by bikehaggle.com.au.
Anything you can do, Dad, I can do better. Ken Watson watching in earnest back in the pits there would be very proud of that manoeuvre. It had Ken Watson's name all over it. Up over the top of bikehaggle.com.au and down into the Dunlop Sportsmax turns. Have a look at the replay here of the way that he just hugged the inside line, did Keogh Watson, and then went a little bit wide, which balked Yanni Shaw, but gave the opening for Tom Taparis to lead them through bikebiz.com.au, but not for long. His determination and his style, and of course the line that he took there, allowed him to get the inside run for the preparation of going over bikehaggle.com.au drop over.
Yeah, and Ryan Sellon took advantage of all that, but he has been relegated now to 5th spot. The battle is still raging. You can see Keogh Watson's elbows and arms hanging out of that little KTM there, Lance. Tom Taparis has been overtaken once again into Races World, but it looks like Yanni Shaw and Ryan Sellon still on the back wheel of these 3 riders.
And let's not forget our race leader. He's leading by the proverbial country mile as Yanni Shaw gets up the inside of Keogh Watson. Again opens up the door down in bikebiz.com.au. He'll get the waggle of the finger from Dad when he gets back to the pits, I'm sure.
Yeah, he makes it work, makes him work hard, doesn't it? Come through bikebiz.com, but straight on the gas again. Yanni Shaw just holding him out, but will he have a big look coming into Dunlop Sportsmax? Ryan Sellon's doing a great job there, Lance, sitting right behind Tom Taparis there in our 4th spot.
Out of Dunlop Sportsmax for the run up towards the Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Days Turn 6 and preparing themselves for the long haul around Corporate Hill.
And it wouldn't be too easy on these smaller machines. They haven't got much power, Lance, so it's all about like playing snookers and lining up every corner to match every other corner.
Well, corner speed is of utmost importance in a category of racing like this. Whether it be on the Kawasaki, whether it be on the KTM or the Honda, you certainly need to maintain as much corner speed as you possibly can so that you can break the draft, if you like, which is what Yanni Shaw has done here momentarily as they head down the iPane Oils back straight. On Keogh Watson behind him. He's the second of the 4 riders in amongst this battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th placing.
Yeah, Yanni Shaw on screen at the moment, coming onto the Swann Insurance main straight through Matrias Dampers turn 12. There's Ryan Sellon on the At1 racing machine still there.
Another look at Races World turn number 1. Look how far out they go trying to maintain that corner speed right over onto the white line that separates the black stuff from the green stuff and has hurt written all over it.
And you can see the inexperience of these riders, Lance, all varying lines as they come through BikeBiz, but all to the same result at the end of it.
Yeah, I wonder whether it is inexperience or maybe a little bit of experience, because sometimes you need to back off halfway through the corner to balk the run that the rider behind you has. And Ken Watson was a master of doing that in years gone by. And Keogh seems to have picked up a little bit of that trait from his father.
Yes, last lap now. Max Crockett's just cleared off into the distance. The race for the final podium positions is Yanni Shaw. Keogh Watson has dropped off to Paris and Selen as they come up through Sydney Motorsport Park ride days for the last time. Keogh's having a big look up the inside. Can he do it into turn 9? There he go. No, he can't do it. Great holding out that line by Yanni Shaw.
In the background, Ryan Selen trying very hard on Tom Taparis as well.
Yes, and once again, Keogh Watson runs wide, but here's the leader coming down the Swann Insurance main straight for the last time.
Well, Max Croker qualified in second place. He took victory in not only the first and the second, but gets a three-peat here at Sydney Motorsport Park in the opening round of the Shock Treatment 400 Supersport of 2017. The battle is on in earnest for second place, and it looks like it's going to go down to Yanni Shaw, who'll take out second place. Keogh Watson, he occupies position 3 on the podium. Tom Taparis, Ryan Selen and Hunter Ford rounding up your top 6. Dan Thomas, Ryan Young, Shani Pinfold, a great job to get up into the top 10, and Robert Penman rounds out the top 10.
Thank you. Yeah, it was definitely difficult, but managed to get 3 out of 3. I'm not sure what happened to Hunter, but the bike was working really well, and the team, thank you to the team for the great setup, and also KTM Australia, Bridgestone tyres and Nolan helmets. Thank you.
So after the opening round of the Shock Treatment 400 Supersports, Max Croker leads with a perfect score ahead of Keogh Watson and Yanni Shaw. Tom Taparis, Ryan Selen, Dan Thomas, Ryan Young, Hunter Ford, Robert Penman and Trent Thompson round up the top 10 contenders. Well, don't go too far away, folks. On the other side of this very short break, we welcome you back for all of the action of the Racers World Pro Twins Naked Bikes and Super Twins 700s. Welcome back to our continued coverage of this year's Swann Super Series, coming to you from Sydney Motorsport Park. The next event on the program is the Racers World FX Pro Twins Naked Bikes and Super Twins 700, and certainly an interesting category, Tim Graham, full of mixed motorcycles.
Yes, in a great class this is, Lance. We've loved this class throughout the years. Been row 1, it seems that it's Heath Griffin from row 1 from Ben O'Connor and Aaron Breeze.
And we have Adrian Pierpoint, Grant Barrett-Thompson and Brendan Watson on the second row.
And row 3 is headed by Alex Matijevic, Adam Hend and Stephen Hopper.
On the fourth row of the grid we have Brian Bolster, Ian Godwin and Mark Wall.
Row 5 is headed by David Broderick, Richard Draper and Ben DePire.
Kevin Corcoran, Trent Thompson and Andy Stagg share the sixth and final row of the grid. On board the Aprilia Tuono of Adrian Pierpoint at the start of this 6-lap scheduled journey as part of the Racers World FX Pro Twins Naked Bike and Super Twins 700.
Yes, a great start there by Heath Griffin, but he couldn't get the front wheel on the ground there, Lance. So got a good start there, but lost it there. It looked like Ben O'Connor on the small 675 got a good start over there, but Adrian Pierpoint is up there as well on his naked bike.
Yeah, and we're on board with him at the moment, heading down into the second turn on this 11-turn circuit here at Sydney Motorsport Park, known as bikebiz.com.au. Out of this left-hander, onto the right-hand edge of the tyres for the first time as they head over the top of bikehaggle.com.au drop-over.
Yeah, a great shot there of Grant Barrett-Thompson's Aprilia as they come around that part of the circuit. Adrian Pierpoint, first of the naked bikes, Lance. A different class. There's a few classes in this one class.
Well, it looks like the Russell Symes and Company Heath Griffin on his Ducati Panigale has certainly thrown the gauntlet out nice and early. Look at the lead that he's got as he heads up over into turn number 6, the Sydney Motorsport Park ride days for the run around Corporate Hill.
Well, he's definitely recovered from that bad start there as he comes first around that part of the circuit. But he is the leading Pro Twins F1 leader, and as we see here by Grant Barrett-Thompson, he's chasing down Aaron Breeze and Ben O'Connor around that tight. Oh, looks like Aaron Breeze has run really wide there, and it's allowed Grant Barrett-Thompson. No, it hasn't. He's got back in front there a little bit wide, but maintains that speed.
Down the iPhone Oils back straight into the Matrice Dampers final couple of turns that leads onto the 1 kilometre long main straight.
Yeah, that great shot there of Ben O'Connor on the Triumph 675. Only a triple cylinder machine. They're a lot smaller, and in the F3 class of this joint class, as you can say. And there's the first, Lance, of the Super Twin 700s, which is a great addition this year.
Well, whilst they're heading down the main straight towards Races World, it's an opportunity for us to be able to talk about Races World. They are really the one-stop shop for permitting and sanctioning as a body for all forms of motorsport, Tim, whether it be 2, 3 or 4 wheels, whether it be drag racing or drifting, for example. You can go along there and get licensed and permitted.
I think that's why it's called Races, Lance. Goes to do everything regarding racing, which is a great addition to the Super Series this year.
Let's have a look at a replay of the start here. If you keep your eyes on the number 3 on the extreme left-hand side of the screen, you'll see what Tim was alluding to earlier on. He spent more time on the back wheel than the front wheel and certainly got himself unsettled in the early stages heading down into Races World.
And here's another great onboard shot at Grant Barrett-Thompson on his Aprilia, and he gets one of the better starts there as the other riders seem to not get their front wheels on the ground, and he is first into Races World. No, he's not. It is Aaron Breeze.
Aaron Breeze shot up the inside, and around the outside there you could see, I think that was Ben O'Connor, or was it Heath Griffin that got the better start?
Heath Griffin got his composure back there, Lance. That's Ben O'Connor just right there, and they both had a good start there as they come down the Swann Insurance main straight. A good battle there between Pierpoint and is that Breeze as well? No, it's Grant Barrett-Thompson.
Yeah, Grant Barrett-Thompson on his Aprilia RSV4 up against the Aprilia Tuono from the Queensland property developer Adrian Pierpoint.
Yeah, the Tuono and the RSV4 Land, very similar machines, just the Tuono doesn't have a fairing, so it's a naked bike version of the RSV4, but very similar in performance.
Well, battling it out of turn 2, bikebiz.com.au for the run over bikehaggle.com.au. The drop over, as you can see, Adrian Pierpoint getting the upper hand there, a good run into Dunlop Sportsmax.
Yeah, great onboard footage there, and has another good look up the inside and up. It does maintain that lead, but there's 85, Brendan Watson. We haven't seen Brendan around for quite a number of years, in a great form for his first race in a number of years.
What this Swann Super Series has done this year, Tim, I've noted in the pits, a number of old faces coming back to enjoy what it all started off in terms of the FX Super Series years ago.
Yes, and they haven't lost any speed, have they? All of them have been back up to the pointy end of the field, but Grant Barrett-Thompson having a big look up there. I think that's Ben O'Connor in front of him as they come down the Iphone back straight.
Take a bit of time to listen to the tune of that beautiful bike.
There's excellent sound from those Aprilia V4 machines, but that is Stephen Hopper on his Aprilia V4 as they come around Matria's dampers onto the Swann Insurance main straight.
Yeah, Adam Hend on his Triumph Daytona 675R doing a good job to be able to take the battle up for the minor placings. About mid-pack this battle.
Yeah, there's Brendan Watson there as he crosses the start and finish line. But like I mentioned, those 675 Triumphs, they might be much smaller in capacity, but they still take it to the bigger machines.
And this is actually the battle for 7th and 8th placing, so it's a little bit further up towards the pointy end of the field than mid-pack, as I mentioned. As we take another look at Grant Barrett-Thompson, let's just sit back and soak up the sounds of this beautiful motorcycle. Just feathering the throttle there as he had to back off, as you could see the Aprilia Tuono there on that replay of Adrian Pierpoint did get the better run through Dunlop Sportsmax.
Yeah, Pierpoint now catching up to Aaron Breeze now as they come down the Swann Insurance main straight once again. As I said before, similar performance these machines. He looks like he's used a slipstream. Has he got up the inside? It looks like he has. He could get up the inside into Races World, and he's done it, Lance.
Yeah, good job there, the RSV4 against the Tuono. You mentioned earlier on as well, Tim, the different classes of racing within this category. You have the FX Pro Twins, and there are 3 formulas involved in that. The naked bikes have 3 formulas. But what about the Super Twin 700? What a great inclusion to be able to get them back out onto the circuit as well.
Yeah, I think the idea with the Super Twins, Lance, is to get a lot of the bikes that we've seen racing in years gone past, like the SV650 Suzukis, back out there having a race and filling up the grids, and they're having a great fun as well.
In a lot of the old stages, and I'm not just talking about the bikes, I'm talking about the riders, some of them as well.
Both of them.
Dusting off the cobwebs and getting back out there having a bit of fun. Here's a replay there of the Tuono of Adrian Pierpoint getting up the inside of the RSV4 of Adam Breeze.
Yes, a good ride by Adrian Pierpoint, who's been the stalwart champion in the Formula 1 naked bike class for quite a number of years.
Yes, the Gold Coast property developer has travelled far and wide to be able to showcase his style. and he's done it in good jest as well.
Yeah, there's Heath Griffin on the last lap coming through Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Days, Corporate Hill turn 9 for the last time, down the iPone oils, back straight, a convincing win there. First race by Heath Griffin.
And negotiates the triple apex corner Matrice dampers that leads on to the main straight, the Swann Insurance main straight, and he'll greet the checkered flag quite comprehensively ahead of the rest of the field. As you can see in the background, the nearest to them is Ben O'Connor on his Triumph Daytona 675.
It's a great ride there by Ben O'Connor, and he's doubling up with the Super Sport class, so an excellent ride there by Adrian Pierpoint, gets third on the road, first for the naked bikes. And the final results for the race with Aaron Breeze in fourth, Grant Barrett-Thompson, Brendan Watson, Adam Hens, Stephen Hopper, Alex Mahijevic and Mark Wall rounding out the top 10.
Thanks very much. Yeah, it was a bit of a lonely race out there. We had a bit of a gap to the next guys, so I'm expecting A-Day to get a bit quicker throughout the day. Still a little bit to come in the bike, but I'm really happy with it, and it's a good start to the championship for me.
Yeah, good start indeed for Heath Griffin with a pole position and a victory in race 1. He occupies the front row of the grid with Ben O'Connor and Adrian Pierpoint.
Row 2 is headed by Aaron Breeze, Grant Barrett-Thompson and Brendan Watson in 6th.
Third row of the grid is shared by Adam Hens, Stephen Hopper and Alex Mahijevic.
Mark Wall, Ian Godwin and Brian Bolster, row 4.
On the 5th row of the grid, we have David Broderick, Richard Draper and Kevin Corcoran.
Row 6 is headed by Ben DePire, Trent Thompson and Andy Stagg in 18th position.
Well, another 6-lap journey. Will it be a matter of Russell Sainz and Company's Ducati Panigale mounted Heath Griffin just running away with it? He gets a bit of a better start this time, Tim. More front wheel on the ground than he did in race 1.
Yeah, a much better start, but still not a better start than the other Aprilia riders there. It looks like Aaron Breeze and Grant Barrett-Thompson, a great start, and Ben O'Connor on the 675's up there as well.
Not that far behind them either is Adrian Pierpoint, but look at this up the inside, nice and early. Heath Griffin, he heads the field through turn 2, the bikebiz.com.au turn, the left-hander, the hairpin.
Yes, and Heath Griffin hasn't got the best of starts, but he's definitely made it up at the early stages of this race as they go over bikehaggle.com.au, Lance.
Yeah, Adrian Pierpoint down into the S's, or the right-left combination known as Dunlop Sportsmax.
Yes, and it looks like Aaron Breeze is still holding out Heath Griffin there. Ben O'Connor's right in the fight as well. And Adrian Pierpoint right up to the pointy end early in stages. So he's moved into third position as they come around Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Days for the first time.
Well, they saw what happened in the first of the races, World FX Pro Twins Naked Bike and Super Twins 700 race, and that was they allowed Heath Griffin to run away with it quite comprehensively. They didn't take up the challenge in the early stages, did these 3 or 4 key contenders, as Adrian Pierpoint takes a nice tight line on the run now down the iPone Oils back straight.
Yeah, Aaron Breeze ran really wide there through turn 9 down into iPone Oils, but look at the lead Heath Griffin already has, Lance, as they come round Matrice dampers onto the Swann Insurance main straight for the first time.
Well, there's 3 riders that have broken a little bit away from another 3 riders behind them, not much in it, but the real point is if they don't start working together, Tim, then Heath Griffin is just simply going to run away with this again.
Yeah, I saw Brian Bolster, the leading 700 mid-pack as well, but as we look through the visor of Adrian Pierpoint into Racers World, but it looks a great ride there as he moves into second spot on the road.
Heading down into bikebiz.com.au, extremely important to get a good drive out of there, Tim, for the run up over bikehaggle.com.au drop over. Talking about bikehaggle.com.au, it is really the new place to buy and sell motorcycles, isn't it? It's whether it be used, new, race damaged or parts, and this new website that is available has certainly created a great deal of interest.
Yes, as we see a restart by Grant Barrett-Thompson, a good start. But the Heath Griffin, you can see him flying around the outside after his another poor start, you could say.
Out of Racers World, heading down the straight into turn number 2 as we're now looking at a replay of turn 6.
It's a replay of Heath Griffin taking the lead from Aaron Breeze, but now the battle down at Racers World once again is between Ben O'Connor and Aaron Breeze. Adrian Pierpoint and Heath Griffin have pulled away at the front, and no uncertain terms there.
They have, as they head down towards bikebiz.com.au. This battle for the minor placings is certainly thrilling the crowd here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Up around the right-hander, that leads over the bikehaggle.com.au drop over. Talking about bikehaggle.com.au, Tim, if you visit that website for a given period of time, there is free advertising.
And what a great offer that is, free advertising if you want to sell or buy a motorcycle. Even not you can buy them, you don't have to sell them just for free, but here they a great sponsor for this 2017.
Back to the racing here at Sydney Motorsport Park, up through Sydney Motorsport Park. Ride Days turn 6 for the run around the Corporate Hill area, leading into the right-hander that heads them down the iPone Oils back straight.
Another great battle there between Stephen Hopper and Adam Hend as they come round Corporate Hill. But here Ben O'Connor has got the better of Aaron Breeze as they come round the turn 9 section of Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Days.
Yeah, that's the one that I was mentioning. You've got to get good drive out of there, Tim, to the run down the iPone Oils back straight. It sets them up for maintaining good corner speed as they flip from the right to the left in this triple apex corner known as Patrice Dampers.
It's very off camber too, that turn 9, the second part of Corporate Hill there, but excellent riding by Ben O'Connor and Aaron Breeze. Ben O'Connor, a great performance again, Lance, on his little 675.
Yeah, you can't sing the praises highly enough of the smaller bore capacity machine and the rider ability of the pilot on board.
Yes, but Aaron Breeze picks up a little speed, as you would think, with the 1000 versus the smaller 675. But Ben O'Connor perfect as he comes through Races World into bikebiz.com.au turn 2.
Yeah, it's not a very wide bike, but he makes it nice and wide, doesn't he? Some great slow-mo replays here.
Heath Griffin, it looks like he's in a class of his own in this Pro Twins Formula 1 section anyway, but excellent footage there. And there's Kokorin on his MT-09 Yamaha, another great addition to the naked bike class.
The Sugar Plum Racing entry number 77 of Trent Thompson there. The Suzuki SV650 showing the style, the grace and the dexterity required on that older bike to get through this section of the circuit, which is known as Dunlop Sportsmax.
That's a great battle between Grant Barrett Thompson and the second of their naked bike riders, the returning rider Brendan Watson on a FZ1, which is the former Lockheed Thomas racing machine, Lance.
Yeah, he's doing a good job, there's no doubt about that. As he heads out of turn 6 for the run around Corporate Hill. Our race leader in the meantime negotiating the final turn for the final time to take his second consecutive victory on the back of his pole position from yesterday's qualifying. A great effort for the Russell Symes and Company. Heath Griffin on his Ducati Panigale.
A dominant race win there again by Heath Griffin. Excellent riding on the Panigale. It looks like we might have Adrian Pierpoint second on the Swan Insurance main straight as he comes across the line. Second on the road. First Formula 1 naked bike machine. And Ben O'Connor, the praises continue to get praised on the little bike there and the rider there on the 675.
Yeah, the Crosby Speed Shop entry finishes in third place ahead of Grant Barrett Thompson, Brendan Watson, Adam Hend, Stephen Hopper, Michael Jeffrey, Alex Matajevic and Brian Bolster rounding up the top 10 contenders.
I was a little bit disappointed with my ride this morning. I lost concentration halfway through because I knew I had a big lead, and so I really wanted to focus on the second race and just keeping the lap times as quick as I could make them. Chris Jones from Triple X Rated Suspensions has done a great job with the bike, and we're getting better and better all the time.
Let's have a look at the highlights of Race 3 in the Races World FX Pro Twins Naked Bikes and Super Twins 700. And on the back of two very dominant performances, it would be Heath Griffin, again, that leads from lights out to checkered flag falling.
Yeah, this is all the other riders saw of Heath Griffin all through the races in the weekend, including pole position, but a great battle between all the other riders in race number 3.
As they head over the bikehaggle.com.au drop over, it was all about Heath Griffin, but some great performances, as you mentioned. The 85 of Brendan Watson, what a comeback for him.
Yeah, excellent riding by Brendan, but unfortunately the little 675 had the power to get past that older FZ1 machine, so Ben O'Connor back up to the pointy end.
Yeah, pointy end on the Crosby Speed Shop Triumph Daytona 675R, and that battle would continue to thrill the crowd here throughout the entire 6-lap journey. But it was all about Heath Griffin on the Russell Symes and Company Ducati Panigale.
Yes, a dominant weekend for Heath Griffin on his Ducati. 3 race victories, pole position. It doesn't get any better than that.
Adrian Pierpoint would follow him across the line in second, and Grant Barrett Thompson occupied third place. Let's have a look at the points after round 1. Heath Griffin, Adrian Pierpoint and Ben Connor, your top 3 dogs. Then we have Grant Barrett Thompson, Brendan Watson, Adam Hend, Stephen Hopper, Alex Matajevic, Aaron Brees and Brian Bolster rounding up your top 10. There's still plenty more action to come on the other side of the break. Join us for the Freight Links Transport Formula Oz B, C and D grade. Welcome back to Sydney Motorsport Park for our continued coverage of the 2017 Swann Super Series. The next category to be contested is the Freight Links Transport Formula Oz B, C and D grade.
A new format this year for the Formula Oz, Lance, with the A-grade Formula Oz riders running in conjunction with the Premier Superbike class.
And it's also an opportunity for some riders of past years to make a return to racing, such as our pole sitter, Richard Zajar. Alongside of him will be Dane Purcell and Brett Kitchen.
Road 2 is David Birch, Harry Bourjardian and Carlos Rendon.
On the next row of the grid, we have Jean-Gabriel Lane, Andy Fisher and Michael Witchard.
Nick Marsh, Mark Wolford and Mark Nassif, row 4.
Fifth row, Callum Barker, Will Stewart and Mark Badgery.
John Howie, Mark Bortolucci and Emmanuel Nataris.
That rounds up our front 6 runners, but all in all we have 21 contestants in this, the first of 3 encounters in the Freight Links Transport Formula Oz B, C and D grade.
Yeah, and a great start there by Richard Zajar on his CBR 1000 RR machine. Looks like he's first into Races World Turn 1.
Listen to them stream through there. This Formula Oz category has certainly been a class amongst any other racing throughout the years, Tim. It is basically the run what you brung class of racing. Anything goes as long as it qualifies in terms of scrutineering.
Yeah, no controlled tyres, Lance. You can use new tyres every race if you want. You can bore your machine out, tune your machine as much as you want. Anything goes in this class, and as you can see by one of the riders there, number 47, young Callum Barker on a 600 machine riding into Formula Oz.
Oh, going extremely deep and extremely wide there was the FTR Racing Jean-Gabriel Lane on his Yamaha R1.
Look at this huge field as they come down Sports Max corners there, Lance. But Richard Zajar at the front through Sydney Motorsport Park ride day. He's got a bit of a lead there already.
Yeah, he's doing a good job on the Canberra Motorcycle Centre Honda CBR 1000 RR and the accountable IT bargain bike gear. Brett Kitchen, he's bitching back there in second place.
Yeah, good ride there by Brett. Excellent machine there. You can see Callum Barker on the number 47 600 going a little bit wide there, but this huge class here, all these machines with excellent presentation all throughout the field.
On board with Harry Bourjardian on his Kawasaki ZX-10R, being swooped up the inside by another rider as they head into the Matrice Dampers final turns.
Yeah, another one of the At1 Racing Team riders that is there as they come up through Matrice Dampers onto the Swann Insurance main straight for the first time.
Listen to him wring the neck off that Kawasaki as he tries to get up one place further. Brett Kitchen in the meantime, he's absorbing all of the pressure being applied by the Auslaps Motorcycle Tours Kawasaki of David Birch.
Yeah, excellent riding by Birch and Kitchen there, but it's all Richard Zajar at the moment, and we've mentioned many times through the coverage, Lance, returning riders, they've been going so well, none better than Richard Zajar at the moment. Yeah,
a good effort from him to be able to get back onto the track and enjoy his motorcycle racing as he does.
Here's a replay of the start with Richard getting the power to the ground. As you can see, it's very hard with these 200 plus horsepower machines to get off the grid into Races World Turn 1 for the first time.
I thought that a good start there from the Ballina Motorcycles entry of Dane Purcell, number 44 as well. He may have been able to get up past Brett Kitchen and on the inside of Richard Zajar, but then he seemed to bog down a little bit and was involved in a battle royale with 3 or 4 other riders, and they were, I guess you could say, battling for the same piece of real estate.
And look at the battle all the way through the field. That's Michael Witchard there in second of that little gaggle there midfield on his Kawasaki. Been up the front in the recent years here, one of the C graders. But there is Birch, and look up the inside there. Who was that? That was Carlos Rendon.
Yeah, on board his Yamaha, the stay upright Yamaha. He's forced his way through there and leads Harry Bourjardian.
Yeah, Harry Bourjardian having a good race there. Was that Andy Fisher up the inside there through turn 9, the second part of Sydney Motorsport Park Riders Corporate Hill, and then onto the iPone back straight. You can hear Harry's putting the power to the ground and through Matrice Dampers. Now it's full throttle down this 1 kilometre main Swann Insurance main straight.
Listen to the revs build and the speed as we're now up towards the battle for second, third and fourth placing out of Races World Turn 1 for the run down into bikebiz.com.au. One rider there, I think that's Carlos Rendon, is it? Going a little bit too wide, too deep, outbreaking himself.
Had a great run into race as well, but then once again into bike biz broke down. But Brett Kitchen now, and Dane Purcell's catching up to him. There's Michael Witchart, and the little 600 of Callum Barker's just behind those riders there, so doing a great job, the young Queenslander.
Look at them all. Stream over the top of bikehaggle.com.au, drop over down into Dunlop Sportsmax, firstly to the right, then to the left. And as you could see there, a graphic vision there of Harry Boyajian just opening up the opportunity for another rider to get past him on the outside in turn number 5. Now negotiating stay upright, turn 6.
Yeah, it's a circuit of two parts, isn't it, Lance? They've got the big long straight and the big tricky part of the back of the circuit. But here's that big move by Michael Witchart up the inside through Sydney Motorsport Park, Ride Days turn 9. And a good effort by that Kawasaki rider to get down the power to the ground down up the inside of iPone. Oh, that is Carlos Rendon losing it into bikebiz.com.au. Lucky to stay on the circuit there. Good work by that rider after making that mistake.
Good to see he could still keep it upright.
Yes, but here is the battle for the lead, and it looks like Richard Jarjar's got his hands full now of David Birch on his ZX10R. And Richard's had the whole race to himself so far, but now Birch is really on the pace.
Had to wrestle that bike very hard, did David Birch. You could see the body language out over the left-hand side, now over the right-hand side of the bike, taking a lot of effort for him to control. As you can see there, Richard Zaja, he could hear what was happening behind him. He knows that he's got a bit of pressure being applied in the final stages of this final lap.
Yeah, coming onto the iPone, back straight for the last time. Richard may have this up. Look at Birch, he's closed right down onto the back of that Honda, Canberra Motorcycles Honda of Richard. Can he maintain that pace? It's definitely going to be a slipstreaming drag race to the line. Birch is right there now, Lance, with everything to gain.
Is it a matter of too little, too late, though, as both of them put down the darkies and get onto the main straight for the final time? Birch has gone a little bit too narrow, I think, on his approach, and it's all Richard Zaja who takes victory in the first of the Freight Links Transport Formula Oz BC and D grade races.
Yeah, chased all the way by second place David Birch, Brett Kitchen in third, Dane Purcell a good fourth there, Carlos Rendon, Michael Witchart, Nick Marsh, Andy Fisher, Harry Boyajian and Mark Nassif rounding out the top 10.
Got out in front, so I looked at my lap board. I knew they were coming to get me, and they got close in the last sort of lap there, but just sort of hung on to it.
Well, let's see if Richard can do it again, this time from pole position for race 2. David Birch and Brett Kitchen alongside of him on the front row.
Yeah, Dane Purcell, Carlos Rendon and Michael Witchart at second row.
Row 3 sees Nick Marsh, Andy Fisher and Harry Boyajian.
Mark Nassif, Callum Barker on his little 600 in, and then Mark Wolford.
Jean-Gabriel Lane, Mark Badgery and James Fruin round up row 5.
And Marco Bortolucci, John Howie and Peter Frost, row 6.
So Richard Zaja on board the Canberra Motorcycle Centre Honda CBR 1000RR in a comeback meeting for him after a hiatus of around about 18 months. On board that number 45, gets the whole shot quite easily, Tim.
Yeah, a good start this time by Richard Zaja, no pressure by the other riders, so he's actually he's gone a little bit wide there through the race as well for the first time. And there's David Birch, he gave a big look up the inside straight away, Lance, so he's up the inside, not giving himself any work to do, but he's gone wide in bikebiz.com.au.
Yeah, he'll have the inside run for the lead around.
Oh, gee, that was close there between Richard Zaja. I think he's got a bit of black paint on his Honda now. Both those riders coming together, but Richard Zaja still maintaining the pace. But who's it up the inside? Looks like Carlos Rendon.
Rendon again pouncing on the opportunity there of the coming together of Zaja and Birch. It opened up the opportunity for him to get up the inside down in Dunlop Sportsmax.
We're very lucky for both those two riders out in front, battling very hard. But Carlos Rendon now putting the pressure on the two front runners, with Purcell moving into fourth position, coming through Sydney Motorsport Park, Ride Days, Corporate Hill.
Out of turn 6 and around the run through Corporate Hill, you can see the battles throughout the entire field here, stringing themselves out 3, 4 and 5 wide on the exit, but it's only a narrow opportunity through turn 9 to get the best run down Iphone Oil's back straight.
Yeah, when you've got 30-odd riders there, Lance, but it looks like Zaja's been overtaken there at the end of Iphone Oil's back straight by Rendon. Rendon's got the better of Birch and Zaja to take the lead on his R1 Yamaha.
Yeah, the stay upright Yamaha R1 certainly did all that was asked of then. and threaded the needle up the inside in a narrow opportunity, but he certainly grabbed it with open arms, didn't he?
Yeah, he's probably still dirty with himself after his mate going for the one of the pointy end of the field in race number 1, but Birch is right there with him. Richard Zaja hasn't had all his own way in race number 2. He's been relegated to 5th by Brett Kitchen, who's now in 4th position just behind Dane Purcell.
Lots of pressure being applied for the minor placings, there's no doubt about that. Look at the speed, the corner speed there. Wow.
Yeah, David Birch is flying there, but the big mover at the moment is Dane Purcell there on his blue and silver livered Yamaha. Richard Zaja relegated down to 5th position now, race 1 winner.
Yeah, he's certainly going backwards in fine style, not what he would like to do. On board with Harry Boyajian, looking ahead of his ZX 10R Kawasaki. You can see that. I wonder if it's a tyre issue that he's got there as Richard Zaja. He's certainly going backward at a fair pace.
And here's the replay of the coming together with David Birch at the early stages of the race, and which could cause him to be going backwards through the field, maybe with a bit of mechanical damage there, Lance.
Only time will tell. You can see here that he was still leading on the continued replay as they headed down the Ione Oils back straight, but then was taken on the inside and the outside by both Birch and Rendon.
Yeah, Brett Kitchen now is closing right up onto the front of the field too. Good ride there by Kitchen on the number 55 BMW S1000 RR. Always one of the best presented motorcycles in any race when we go to.
The front 3 runners have broken the back of the rest of the field. Then there's a couple occupied behind them looking for 4th and 5th place, and then this 6-way battle behind them for the minor placings.
There's Michael Wishart negotiating that turn 3, getting ready to come over the bikehaggle.com.au drop off there, which is a pretty treacherous part of the circuit there. You can't actually see it until you get to it there, and good battle out the front to get over that without being unscathed.
Unlike the website that it's named after, bikehaggle.com.au, you'll only see bikes and parts for sale or advertising.
Even some of these bikes you might be able to see for sale on the site there, Lance, but a great battle between all the riders. I think that's David Birch out in front, which would have Dane Purcell, Richard Zaja, no, it's Carlos Rendon, David Birch and Brett Kitchen now right onto the back wheel of these 2 riders.
Here's a replay of Brett Kitchen, some super slow-mo. Negotiating, I think you'll find that is the Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Days, turn 6.
On the accountable IT bargain bike gear BMW S1000 RR. Another one of the S1000 RRs there behind him.
In the meantime, back to live action through turn 1, Races World for the final time. This battle for the lead as Carlos Rendon on the Stay Upright Yamaha does exactly that. Oh, losing the front end. David Birch, unfortunately. Bad luck, he was just applying too much pressure too early, I think, Tim.
Yeah, trying to get to the power to the ground, coming out of Bike Biz, getting for the line through bikehaggle.com.au drop-off, lost the front end. Unfortunate for David, a non-finish in race number 2.
So it's down to a battle of 2. Will it be Carlos Rendon or will it be Brett Kitchen on the accountable IT bargain bike gear BMW S1000 RR?
Yeah, Brett Kitchen's definitely closed down on Rendon. I can see that he can see a race win here. We've seen him win a couple of races last year in this class. Closing right down on Carlos Rendon at the moment, coming through, getting ready to go through the last turns of Sydney Motorsport Park Ride Days, turn 9, getting ready for the Ione Oils drag down the straight.
Disappointment for this man, Richard Zaja, though. He's not even going to finish on the podium, Tim, after a great victory in race 1.
Yeah, unfortunate for Richard, but it's all been Carlos Rendon from the start, hasn't it, really? But Brett Kitchen is giving all he can with one final corner to go through Matrius Dampers for the different drag race down the Swann Insurance Main Straight. Who he's going to be? It looks like Carlos Rendon may have a little bit of an advantage there.
Looks like he will take victory in this, the second race of the Freight Links Transport Formula Oz BC and D grade, and he's one happy chappy. Carlos Rendon ahead of Brett Kitchen. Dane Purcell finishes in 3rd placing, a great effort for him.
And race 1 winner Richard Zaja 4th, Harry Boyajian in 5th, Michael Wishart, Mark Nassif, Andy Fisher, Mark Wolford and John Gabriel Lane rounding out the top 10.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was a great race. I just got a new bike, Yamaha R1, and trying to work in settings all we can, and finally we just close where we need to be.
Highlights now of race 3 in the Freight Links Transport Formula Oz BC and D grade, and after a mixed bag of results, Richard Zaja was looking for another victory but got a poor start again, Tim.
Yeah, Carlos Rendon got the better of the start in the race 3, led him through the first part of the circuit. Brett Kitchen, another one of the riders that got a great start.
The field headed through on the first of 6 laps with no altercation whatsoever, except for this battle as Brett Kitchen slotted up the inside of Carlos Rendon, and around the outside, squeezing for racing room, was Richard Zaja, certainly trying hard, but Brett Kitchen led them for most of it.
Yeah, Carlos Rendon tried very hard there to keep in front of Richard Zaja, trying to catch Brett Kitchen out in front as they were going through bikebiz.com.au. He ran wide once again, Lance.
But not as wide as our race leader, Brett Kitchen, there with the Dayglow yellow helmet and livery on his black leathers. He was leading and went all the way back to 3rd place, therefore started to apply the pressure well and truly on Carlos Rendon, with Harry Boyajian looming up larger than life behind him.
But once again, it was a great ride by Richard Zaja to take victory over Brett Kitchen, and in 3rd place, Carlos Rendon.
Let's have a look at the race results. So in B grade, it is Richard Zaja, Carlos Rendon and Brett Kitchen after round 1. In C, it is Nassif, Gabrielle Lane and Howie that occupy the top 3 positions, whilst in the Formula Oz D grade, it's Aaron Smith, Will Stewart and Craig McNaughton that head the field. Well, thank you for joining us at Sydney Motorsport Park for all of the action from round 1 of this year's Swann Super Series. Make sure you join us over the coming weeks for round 2, also coming to you from Sydney Motorsport Park. But for now, on behalf of Tim Graham and the entire team, thanks for watching and look after yourselves.